Party last night, and thanks for coming early. Thanks for waking up. And this is the topic that we're going to talk about. And my name is Milinda. I'm part of the R&D team. I'm a product manager based out of Redmond. My team owns the AI analytics, big data in F&O. And I'm glad to have on stage Anil.
Yeah, my name is Anil Nouri. I'm an architect for the F&O organization, and I will go sort of under the hood. So what's sort of some of the technology that we're going to talk about. So we'll split the session. So Melinda will start, and then I'll go under the hood, and then he'll take over. So, okay, I'll come back.
So here's what we're going to do in the next 75 minutes or so. Can I see a quick show of hands? If you're a customer, please raise your hand. Okay, wonderful, a lot of you. If you're a partner or an ISV, okay, perfect, perfect. How many of you are on D365 F&O? Wonderful. Anyone who's on AX 2012 or earlier? Few of you. Okay, sounds good. Okay, yeah, don't be ashamed. There are many of you. So here's basically what we're going to talk about. We'll first talk about the present. What I mean by the present is D365, of course, and the present in our case is the latest platform update. We'll sort of talk a little bit about what are called analytical workspaces. We will talk about entity store. We'll talk about BYOD. Essentially, the present, so that we're on the same stage, same space, so we can talk about the future. So the future is a lot. Well, it's very interesting, exciting. All of F&O data is going to be available in a data lake. So let's, as Anil mentioned, let's understand what happens under the hood, because for some of you, data lake might be a new quantity, an unknown world. So let's try to understand what a data lake is and how essentially it will look very much like a relational database, like a relational data warehouse that you're familiar with. So we'll talk about what's called a modern data warehouse. Essentially, you probably know about data warehouses. We'll discuss what a modern data warehouse looks like. Now, whenever there's a present and a future, obviously there's a journey. So let's talk about the journey. Essentially, you have entity store, you use analytical workspaces. We'll see how that easily transitions into ADLS with Azure Synapse. You probably heard about Azure Synapse. We'll talk about how Dynamics is using Azure Synapse under the covers and how that's making our life a whole lot easier in order to transition to this new world. Of course, many of you might be using BYOD, bring your own database, which is essentially to integrate data with your existing data warehouses. So we'll talk about how BYOD, how the data lake kind of looks like a BYOD thanks to Azure Synapse. Of course, the goodness doesn't end there. Now, most of you may also have data warehouses that you built. Maybe some of them are legacy. You might be building some of them right now. We'll also talk about what opportunities the data lake gives us in terms of extending those, modernizing those. What we mean by that is perhaps your data warehouse is looking at business data. Let's talk about how you can integrate AI into it very easily, how you can bring in external data, clickstream data, data from machines, sensors. That's essentially what we're looking at when we talk about a modern data warehouse. So that's what we have in store. We've got 75 minutes, so I think we're going to do that. We're going to have plenty of time for a bunch of demos, for a bunch of discussions. We might have a little bit of time for questions, but if you can't catch us, don't worry. Anil and I are going to be at our booth up in the hub from the moment we kind of finish and for us to go there till about 12:30 or so. So you're welcome to come and meet us there. So with that, let's get started. Let's talk about the present. So, I think most organizations that we talk to have decided to implement ERPs because they want visibility into their business. They want to understand what's really going on. What are the business processes? How are they performing? Am I getting my revenue? Are people paying me on time? So essentially, when you talk about an ERP, the discussion boils down to reporting. But as you probably know, not all reports are the same. So what we've done in D365 is we've looked at different types of reports, different styles of reports, and we've built our products or scenarios around them. So for an example, there are documents. You need to print a document, you probably need to stick it in a box, or maybe you might want to send it as an email. You have labels that needs to be printed. Maybe it's going down the manufacturing line. So those documents and printing, we care about them a lot. And there are a lot of improvements that we are making for documents and labels. And you'll see some of that coming out early next year. What we call modern documents that look really nice, and then labels with which you can create things like food labeling and stuff like that. So a lot more innovation happening there. And then there's this idea of office documents, regulatory reports that you need to send as Excel, or perhaps certain standards that local jurisdictions ask you to send them in. We have a tool for that that's called GER, General Electronic Reporting. We have tools for financial reporting, things like balance sheets, and then cash flow statements, income statements, stuff like that. That's generally Management Reporter. Of course, there's this idea that all these documents are great, but I want to know some data right now. I want to get a grouping of my customers. I want to get a list of invoices. I want to see who's outstanding. We have this idea of workspaces, which is really built around your business processes. And we'll take a look at that also. But you can't miss the yellow box in here. That's why we kind of made it big. Essentially, what we're trying to do is we're trying to move all the documents, all the things that don't fit into other boxes, into this big yellow box. And we'll talk about why in a little bit. So, you must be asking, hey, Melinda, you're talking about report. This conference is all about AI and analytics. Where's AI? It's all connected, So, we talk to a lot of organizations, really, and essentially what we're finding is a lot of these organizations have users who still want reports. They just want a listing. Some people want a hard copy. Some people are okay with a PDF, but they just want a list. Now, what they try to do with this list is interesting. They sometimes take that list. They also want another list, and they want it perhaps grouped by something else. They wanted, a couple of additional columns. And then they try to internally in their mind, they're trying to figure out, hey, if something happens here, something else changes here. So that means I need to do that in my business process. So you're kind of mentally slicing and dicing data using these static reports. So the obvious next step is this idea of interactive dashboards where you could do the same thing without actually having those listings in front of you. So the transition from static reports to interactive dashboards, that's almost like a huge, huge step. Not technologically, it's quite easy to do now with things like Power BI, but we see organizations who are making that step, making these other steps really, really quickly and fast. Because if you can work with your users, if they can understand this concept of, hey, now, what we call causality, if they can understand this idea of causality, and when they become familiar with using tools where interactively you could do that, then the rest becomes a whole lot easier. Because once you understand the causality, predictions would come in very naturally. In fact, if you attended our theater session on Wednesday, we talked about our product line that we're trying to bring in early next year, which is trying to basically use AI and predict the cash flow. We started by talking about customer payment insights. So essentially, we have interactive dashboards that talk about credit and collections. The next step really is trying to predict what are the areas that you need to focus on. It's quite easy. And then the next step, obviously, is automating. If there are obvious cases where the collections are perhaps running low, maybe the system can make a recommendation, and maybe you can make the automation quite easy. You've seen Power Automate. I mean, you kind of see the direction that we're heading in. So if you're an organization that is kind of still in the world of static reports and you're kind of wondering, hey, how do I get into AI? How do I, maybe the first step that you need to focus on is this jump from static reports to interactive dashboards. Does that seem fair? All right, so let's get back into our workspaces and how we are making that transition within the product to help you. So is anyone familiar with role centers? Yeah, the good old days. So essentially, what we tried to do with role centers almost 12, 13 years ago is to build those insights, is to give those insights around businesses. So essentially, a role center, think of it as a dashboard built around a persona, built around credit and collections person, payables person, receivables person, warehouse person. But what we realized in the process is that it's not the person, it's the business process. So in D365, you have this idea of workspaces, which really works on or sits on top of a business process. So there's about 70 of these workspaces within F&O. Essentially, what we've tried to do is on the left-hand side, we have operational metrics that are pre-built for that business process. Of course, you can change it quite easily. Users can change these things themselves in most cases, or IT or perhaps a pro user can come in and create these. But the idea is users have tiles, users have the ability to create quick lists, they have the ability to jump into action right away. That's the idea behind a workspace. What we've done is put analytics right into that workspace so that analytics is right there. And that's what an analytical workspace is, and that's how we've tried to put data, interactive data exploration within a business process in context. So how many of you are familiar with analytical workspaces? Quick show of hands. Yeah. So analytical workspaces is our way of adding interactive dashboards, data exploration within business processes to help your users transition into this world of data. So an analytical workspace, think of it as two things. Number one, there's a set of ready-made analytical workspaces that you should use. It comes ready-made. We have about 25 coming from Microsoft. Our ISVs and partners have more. And about 60% of our production environments actually are using analytical workspaces today. So if you belong to that 40%, when you go home, you know what to do. You should take a look because you're missing out if you're not using this. Now, I mentioned that analytical workspaces are two things. The first thing, obviously, is the set of ready-made reports that gives you a starting point. You don't have to build it ground up. You can start, modify, customize from where we are. In fact, about 66% of the analytical workspaces that are there are customized. What we mean by customized is it's changed from how it was shipped, and that's intentional. The idea is it might be as simple as, look, you hate pie charts. Or it could be that there's data that you want to, that your own data that you extended the system, you want that reflected in these analytical workspaces. Either way, you should adopt it, you should use it. Now, if you have your own reports, sorry, there's some timing in there. If you have your own reports, so for an example, if your requirement is closer to what Microsoft has shipped or what maybe an ISV has shipped, you can edit it, you can extend it, and I'll show you how. But if there are no reports that match your needs, you can actually create your own reports and put them into analytical workspaces, right? So think of analytical workspaces as ready-made reports, but also a way in which you can plug in Power BI right into a business process. And as I'll show you, it's not just visuals. You have the ability to take actions. If you're a developer, you have the ability to actually create orders and do interesting things within the ERP. And the security of the ERP is applied. Okay, I guess the system is asking me to jump into a demo, so let's just do that. So you have the ability to actually integrate the ERP very deeply into so let's just jump into a demo. That's probably the best way. So, so let's look at an analytical workspace, and what I'm looking at is the credit and collections area. So imagine that I'm somebody in your organization whose job it is to collect money. So obviously the first part of the workspace is things like open activities, open cases. These data are real time, so you can click this and you can go jump into a page and take action and come back. Users can create these tiles. Are you familiar? Is anyone familiar with workspaces? Yeah, you are, so I don't need to go into it. But let me go into the most interesting part in a workspace, which is the analytical workspace. So analytical workspaces are Power BI built right into this UI. So for an example, the security of this user flows into the report. You may or may not see data depending on who you are. Now, as you can imagine, what we have done here is within Microsoft, if you look at AX 2012, does anyone know how many reports we shipped? SSRS reports? Any wild guesses? 1,000? Close. 1,247. We shipped 1,247 reports. How many did you actually use out of those? You made your own, yes. You're not alone. And in fact, what we realized is, okay, apart from the documents, which was perhaps a couple of dozen, there were a couple of hundred reports which were listings of all sorts, listings of something by something. And what we realized was I guess the goodness of our hearts, we wanted to give you all the listings by something out of the box, but the listing of something by something that you wanted was not what we shipped, right? So what we realized was, oh shucks, this idea of shipping tons of reports it doesn't work. Instead, what we did was we distilled all those reports into a set of Power BI views. So if you look at the collections area, here's of course an overview, but here's the credit overview. And this is interactive, you can play with this. And so for an example, here's the credit limit report. Here's customers over the credit limit. So as you can imagine, these are all those views, hundreds of views, and you can create more of these. You can hide the ones that are not relevant for you, but you can create more views. But here's age balances for an example. Now the cool thing here is this report is not just a visual that you can play with. You can actually attach business actions into this. So for an example, if I click here, as a user, I'm taken into a page that just has the records that are shown in that visual. So if I want to do something about it, I can jump into action right here, do something, and come back. That's the beauty of analytical workspaces. And as an X++ developer, as an ERP developer, you can attach your custom actions into this framework, right? So you not only can use the reports that come with it, but you can also plug your own reports, but use the framework that's built into this system, and you can actually wire up all the actions so that users can jump into action right then and there, right? That's what analytical workspaces are. Now, of course, we talked about those hundreds of views that you never used, and here's how we solve that problem. Let me actually jump back into that report to edit it. Let's see how you can change the visuals of these reports. So let's launch this report again. Let's just say that let's say that you hate pie charts for some reason. What you can do is now you within your organization can decide who actually gets to do this. So there is a security role that can actually modify these reports. So for an example, I belong to that role, and I see this option called edit. Now, when I hit that option called edit, what you can do is you can actually change the visuals right here. So all these views of data have been constructed using this data set. See balances due, aging, things like that. Now what I can do is I can actually create a new page if you want. And Let me create a new page, and let me just drag and drop balances due by, I guess, customer name maybe. Here you go. And here you go. I get a report right away. Of course, I can change it. I can make all these changes, or I can go in and I can change an existing report, for an example. So you get the idea. As a power user, you have the ability to change visuals, change the reports that are being shipped. This is either by Microsoft or by your ISV. So you can make these changes, make it available to everyone within your organization. You can hide the report pages that are not relevant for you. So analytical workspaces, the ready-made reports, when I say you can use them, it's not just the ready-made reports, but the real value of it is the data set behind it, right? So there are 25 of these reports. I'm not going to show you all of them, even though we have 75 minutes. But I thought I'll show you some reports that we rarely show. Recently, we added some expense reporting. So here's personnel reporting that we have. So if you use the HR functionality within F&O, here are some reports that display some stats about the people. Here are the people metrics and the headcounts. So for an example, headcounts in your company. Analysis of FTEs, analysis of positions by age. I mean, there's a lot of rich information available here. I'll quickly show you expense management, if I can find it. Expense management. This is a new set of reports that we added. So expense analysis can also do your personal expenses, or if you're a manager, you can actually expense the you can analyze expenses of your direct reports, your employees. Of course, here it's tied to security. So if you're a manager, you can only see data related to your reports. You cannot see data from all over the company, right? So, again, expenses. So a lot of reports that you should explore, you should play with. Again, all these things can be edited, these things can be modified. If you're a power user, you can change the visuals, you can create new pages. If you're a developer, you can make changes to data sets. You can create new reports and actually plug it into this environment, right? So a real quick demo of analytical workspaces. Now, where do they come from? Where does that data come from, right? So the data set that you saw on the right-hand side when I selected the edit gesture comes from what's called Entity Store. Does anyone know about Entity Store? Yeah, many of you know. Essentially, think of Entity Store as an operational data warehouse that gets built in, that ships in F&O. So if you have F&O, you have Entity Store, and you have these analytics available to you. Now, Entity Store is designed for operational analytics. So the data from F&O is synced into Entity Store, and the schema within Entity Store is simplified for reporting. So Entity Store is designed for reporting with Power BI within F&O. Now, what's on the right-hand side, as you probably know, is BYOD, where you may have your own data warehouse. You may want to mash up with your own data. So you would export that data from F&O into your own data warehouse, and you would build your reports. That's what BYOD is. So if you're in the present, if you're today, you have these choices, and it's not this or that. As you can clearly see, it's a combination. There are operational reporting with Entity Store within analytical workspaces that you would see right away, that you would use. And then, of course, there'll be areas where you would need to export the data into BYOD for which you would use that pattern. So that's today. Let's talk about the future. Now, in the future, so here's a simplified picture of today. You have Entity Store, you have the AXDB, you have analytical workspaces, which is in that box called F&O, and of course you have BYOD. What we're going to ask you to do is to bring a data lake. So a data lake in your subscription, but when you bring it, what we're going to do, in fact what we're doing today, is that entity store, which is inside F&O, is going to be staged in your data lake. So you have direct access to that data for your own reports, not only the analytical workspaces, right? We're not going to stop there. Next step is you're going to be able to stage BYOD in the data lake also. There's more. What we're going to do actually is we're also going to stage tables in the data lake. So what you're going to have early next year is tables in data lake. So you'll have tables in the data lake, you have entities in the data lake, you have entity store in the data lake. So all your data from F&O is going to be in the data lake. And I need to work on that animation, but the idea is F&O as a service is going to manage these data exports. So you don't have to manage exports, you don't have to schedule them, we will do that for you. So the idea is that data is available in your lake and we keep it up to date. And that is being done by what's called F&O data feeds. We'll come up with a nice name. I'm sure marketing is working on it. But the idea is that we'll come up, that data is kept up to date. But the fun doesn't end there. It's your data lake. And as you've heard, data lakes are actually really good at building like data warehouses. So the idea is that using existing connectors, you can actually ingest a lot of the outside data into that data lake quite easily. Or the historical data that you may have, you can actually bring that into the data lake. Or now it doesn't need to stop at business data. You can actually bring non-business data, sensor data, clickstream data, documents. Now the reason why you would do that is data lakes are ideal for analytics. So there's power user tools. You know the suspects up there: Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, AI Builder. As power users, you can actually work on that data without even knowing the fundamentals or the mechanics behind the data warehouse or the data lake. But if you're a developer or if you're a pro, you can use the tools that you're already familiar with, either in the big data space or from Microsoft, to work with this data, right? So that's essentially the transition to the data lake. That's the future. Now, here's a better picture which kind of goes into a little bit of detail. So for an example, the idea is that we want to make this data available on a near real-time basis. So imagine that this data will be reflected within about 10 minutes when something changes. And it's managed by us. So we make that data available in the data lake. You have the ability to prep and transform that data. And Anil will go through it in a little bit of detail. Now, one of the reasons why we are doing this, why we are making tables available in the lake, is a lot of the customers that we've spoken to who are in AX2012, AX2009, they have direct access to the database. So they found it really hard to migrate to F&O because they don't have direct access. Well, we're going to solve that problem, right? So they should be able to point directly at the data lake and have access just like they did in the past. Of course, there's a lot more happening there. And what I'll do is I'll actually invite Anil to go through what happens under the hood.
Thank you, Virender. Let's see, yeah. Okay, let me see. So this is for the forward.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, let's go through this. So before actually we go into the mechanisms underneath, so what is the benefit of really going into the lake, putting into the lake? In addition to actually all the analytical stuff that you saw, that what Melinda showed, we have actually much bigger vision, which is called the digital feedback loop. Some of you might have seen it in Satya's keynote, also James Phillips's keynote, where we have all of this data. How do you use this data to benefit your own applications and your corporations? So we sort of look at in 4 dimensions. One is like, you want to really use all the data that we have from F&O and use it to really understand the customer more so that we can actually engage with the customer better. So whether it is is a support service, or whether it is actually understanding what a customer is buying so that we can actually have better sales leads out of it, or whether it is retail, commerce, all of these things are centered around customers, both organizations as well as organizations' customers. That is one area. How do we better engage customers by knowing all of this data, by harnessing all of this data? The other one is how do we better optimize our operations? If I understand how people are using our products, I know then I can actually better optimize how they're using it, whether it is your warehouse management, how do I manage my inventory, or whether it is your supply chain, when do I really put my order to our vendors. So all of those things, again, you can have, if you have better insights into how your corporation is working, I can actually better optimize my operations of the corporation. Also, lead that into the products. Again, once we know actually how customers are using the products, I can better build the products. Whether it is which products people are using it, how are they using it, so do they want some bundles? Because whenever I use a computer, then I need to really have a mouse with it or a keyboard with it. Should I bundles? Should I have kits? Those are the kinds of things that we can derive information. And finally, we can also use that information, a lot of the information, to really empower the employees. Melinda showed some, like the Power BI reports on employees. Knowing the information, the historical data about employees, we can actually empower the employees, and then we can find out which areas are they performing well, which areas are they really worried about, what stresses them out, so we can actually do all kinds of insights using that information. So out of the box, actually, we want to leverage a lot of the data from Dynamics 365, whether it is coming from marketing, sales, service, all of that information that we want to feed it into the lake and harness it and derive insights and then feed them back into actually those applications. If I know historically how invoices are coming in and when my customers are paying my invoices, I can start predicting actually when in the future my customers will start paying me. Luckily, people are very predictable. So actually the machine learning can actually figure out based on the historical patterns that what the future may look like. So we want to feed that back actually into the operational systems. So that is the feedback loop that is important. It's not sufficient just generating reports and then seeing it. How do we really take action on those things in the product itself? If I know that somebody is not checking out the cart, maybe on demand I should just put actually a promotion so that they'll actually go and click the checkout so that we can complete the transaction. So these are the kinds of feedback that we can do that. In addition to the data out of F&O, we also actually will start pulling all the other Microsoft ecosystem that we have a lot of customers are using these products, whether it is Office data or whether it is IoT data or what kind of really productivity products even outside Microsoft that you're using. As long as we have actually access to all of this data, we can bring it, harness it, build insights, feed them back into the operational systems. So this is actually the key of what we are planning to do. But in order to do these things, this is where we actually want to leverage the lake. So the end-to-end process, that how it will look like the data processing flow for digital feedback loop, is first to collect all the data sources and then ingest them into the lake. And as Melinda pointed out, that we actually want to do not only just the first time full refresh, we want to ingest the data on demand incrementally in real time. And someplace I need to store it, that will be the lake. And we want to really transform and analyze it so that I can perform various kinds of analysis on those kinds of things. And then finally, you want to publish it, whether you want to publish it into reports or whether you feed them back into the operational systems. This is sort of the life cycle of your data, and then it sort of goes continuously all the time. So, and one can ask, saying that, I often get asked, even within Microsoft, people say that, hey, why don't you just use, SQL Server or relational DB for these things? And we've been doing this for a long time. My background is I'm a database guy, so I worked in almost every database company. So, and I know that it is possible to do that. We used to use SQL databases for high OLTP transactions as well as for DW. But things are changing. The data is becoming large and larger and larger. People, if we used to think that gigabytes is very large. Now everybody talks about terabytes, and then more and more data is coming in. And yes, so you can actually databases are also becoming better. But at some point you'll start seeing that, okay, what is the cost of really doing business, with these? So COGS will start playing a big role now. Yes, storage is cheaper, but still overall cost of compute and storage still adds up. So it's important to figure out, do you really want to do everything in the relational database? Size in the data is only one factor. The other one is really data may come from various sources. As I've shown it, not all data is coming from your relational databases. So data is coming from all other ambient products. And in case of, for example, in case of our e-commerce products, data comes from your click streams. So as you do these web clicks, we want to really know what you're clicking on, so that a vendor wants to know that, so that they can actually better serve you. So data is coming from various data sources beyond relational databases. Do you want to really bring all of that stuff into relational databases just to really run SQL queries? Well, I don't think that will work that well. And the other factor is that not necessarily all of them have SQL schemas. So some of them have much more loose schemas. Some of them have schemas that you can only determine dynamically looking at the shape of the data. And the other factor that we are realizing, we are actually hearing more and more in customers, is they don't want to delete data. They'll say, oh, we have some compliance, and then we want to keep it for 7 years, and then we want to archive this data. And by the way, even though that I archive it, sometimes I need to go back and look at the data. And you don't want to really mount something and then bring it back, sort of rebuild your databases or restore your databases. So you want it archived, but still you want it somewhat online, that you want to go and get it. And the other factor is the multiple applications that will run on this collection of data. BI is one of them. AI is another one. I may actually want to perform various types of integrations with other applications. For example, if my inventory is going down or lower, I may want to integrate that information with my vendors, so the production systems, so that they can actually replenish the inventory. So there are some real-time integrations that need to happen. That means data needs to come out of SQL databases and then go somewhere else. So we need to build such kind of really data flow patterns and then data collection patterns. All of these things, as I mentioned, the cost of doing these things in mainstream operational databases becomes very expensive and very prohibitive. This is where the lake comes into play. So that's the bet that not just us, if you look at the rest of the industry, and then the trend is to really leverage data lakes for these kinds of things. The reason why I'm stressing this is people think lake is only for long-term storage or only for analytics, that I can do some offline processing. It's beyond that. It is actually more, people are going to use these lakes for more real-time processing and not just only for running some analytics. So this is sort of really going back to those 4 stages that I've talked about, putting more stuff into it, more actually mechanisms into it. So on the left side, you have all the data, whether it is transactional sources, web clickstream logs, or whether they're like unstructured files or media files. All of those things needs to be ingested. And we have a mechanism to really ingest the data both the very first time, that full refresh of the data, and then also incrementally to ingest it. There were some sessions actually. We used to call this Project Athena, so now we call it Export to Data Lake. That's the name. So we've built some mechanisms where periodically you can actually control the period in which that you can ingest that data, which could be from few minutes to few hours. In fact, for F&O, we are planning to do it every few minutes. As Melinda pointed out, we want the data in the data lake to be as real time as possible within like 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minute range. That's what we are shooting for. And then once the data comes in, typically you will go through some form of data transformation, and that is where we're going to leverage Azure Data Factory for doing some data transformations. Once the data is sort of somewhat ready, it's sitting there, then you want to prepare the data for, let's say you want to really build some aggregate measures. That means I may need to take multiple data streams and then join them, aggregate those streams. And so I want to process them. I build models. Those models could be analytical models, machine learning models, or other kinds of application models that you can do that. So we are going to really use the mechanisms like Spark for really doing some batch processing, and Azure Data Factory also for doing additional in advanced transformations, and then use T-SQL for querying. As the data is sitting there, often you do want to query the data that is sitting in the lake, and that is where having T-SQL access on the lake will come in handy, and then we're going to use that also. And finally, I showed actually Power Apps AI Builder. This is another mechanism that we are offering to really build machine learning models very easily. So this is where you'll prepare, process, and build models. You can train your models also. Once you have them, then you're ready to serve those things, whether it is, once you build the analytical models, you can use Power BI to go and then visualize those things, or sometimes some of the information that we build, some of the insights, they may go back into F&O so that you can see in F&O dashboard, or go into CDS. So all of these things are the serving layers, or visualization layers. For sample, actually, we have shown the analytical workspaces. This is what the analytical workspaces and this whole flow is what we are going to build. And Melinda is going to actually demo it. So let's look a little bit more deeper into actually how the lake itself will support these mechanisms. So I just put this empty lake, but the first thing that we need to do is really create these 3 folder structures that Melinda talked about. The first one is really raw tables that come in and then sit there. And then the second one is I have the BYOD, all the entities that you're used to it, how am I going to really expose those entities? And then the third one is the entity store itself. In addition to the entity store, we can build other models. So typically the entity ontologies are all the other data models that you can build. And the first thing is to really take the data that is sitting in the F&O AXDB and then feed it into the tables. Once you have that, then we will provide a bunch of SQL views so that you actually can go and then look at all the entities through SQL views. This is what you're used to doing it currently in AXDB. Now you can actually do the same thing on the lake itself. And that will actually give you exposure to all the entities. So you can actually look at all the entities. And then the third step is to really create look at the tables and entities, and then process them using ADF and other mechanisms, Spark, and then generate the entity store. Once you have that, you actually can run your Power BI reports, and you can run AI Builder, all of these mechanisms. So the sort of the process with which we plan to support whatever that Melinda has talked about the future, this is how we plan to materialize the future, visualize the future. So in addition to all of these things, he didn't mention it, but this is actually another stream of data that can come is through external data sources. In fact, it's not like something far-fetched. If you've gone to the booth, our e-commerce booth, we are actually planning to really feed a lot of the e-commerce clickstream data, combine it with your F&O data, and then derive better insights. If I know that you have actually looked at certain products, and then you clicked, and then you put them in the cart, then you checked out, and then in the back end, F&O actually has the transaction fulfilled, then I know that I can relate to your transaction, the purchase data with your clickstream data, and then derive some insights. I will know which products are placed in the cart, which are the most popular one, which are the most expensive products that are put in the cart. So those are the kinds of insights I can derive. Therefore, we can actually put in all the data into the lake and then treat them uniformly and perform the operations like whether I want to create SQL views or whether I want to create Power BI reports or AI insights. We can do all of that stuff. So this is what is going to, so how does this happen? Is the secret sauce is Azure Synapse Analytics. So I don't know how many people have gone to the Synapse sessions. This is something that we have announced it at this Ignite. And we've been working with the Synapse team for the last several months to really enable these things. And the Synapse is a platform that will allow us to perform T-SQL queries and also Spark, ADF, all of these mechanisms that I talked to in the previous slides is packaged as part of the Synapse platform. And that will allow us to really materialize all the applications that I'm showing. So now let's look at a little bit more how Synapse will work. In order to really go and then make Synapse work, I need to get the data out of SQL. Like right now I have operational stores here and I have the lake sitting here, but I need to somehow get the data out. This is where we're going to leverage SQL, change data capture mechanisms, and we built certain data feed feature where it periodically pulled it from SQL and then feeds it through that Project Athena into the lake. One of the key important factors in this is to make sure that as we really pull the data from SQL databases, we want to be very thoughtful about not putting too much pressure on the operational database, because already transactions are happening, and then you're going to really put some more read and write load, then it's going to put some more really burden on top of the databases. So some of the mechanisms we are building is to really alleviate the burden, the I/O burden actually on top of the AXDB itself. By the way, this is the pattern that actually will help make the operational databases better, because you're offloading various kinds of batch processes from the operational database onto the lake. We will invest more and more, but you can imagine, like if you're doing some financial reconciliation or let's say reversals, these kinds of things, you don't need to really do this in the SQL database anymore. If I have the data somewhere else, I can do them, find out all the final results, and then put it back into SQL database, in the operational databases. And these are really long-running processes that if you really take it out of the database and then run them somewhere else, it alleviates actually transactional pressure actually on the database itself. So it makes the database better also. And the beautiful thing to me is that the lake is much cheaper. It's not free, but it's cheaper than the database because the cost of storage is much cheaper. So I don't need to really keep expensive storage. Fundamentally, the way Lake works is it's not just that everything is sitting on hard disks and then the cost of storage is cheap. It's a memory hierarchy. So you have actually hard disks, and then you have solid state disk, and then you have memory. When you want really data access much faster, they automatically flow up the memory hierarchy so that you get better performance. But when you're not using it, they will sit in cheaper storage. Unlike that in operational stores, because they're designed it for high throughput, you are actually spending on expensive storage like solid state disks or in memory databases all the time, even though they were not using it. So you're pretty much like offloading it so that the overall COGS will become much cheaper. So this is how actually we plan to ingest the data. Once I have the data, one of the things that we plan to do that is to provide some form of schematization of this data. So You might have heard called CDM, which is becoming more and more standard across Microsoft. Most business applications, in fact, almost all of them, will start adapting this notion of a CDM schema. What is CDM? It's 3 or 4 things. So one of them is it is a meta language for describing your metadata. It could be strictly structured data, or it could be semi-structured data. There is a language to define how the metadata will look like. It also is collection of out-of-the-box entities. Everything that is in CRM, CDS, and then F&O, we plan to really schematize them and provide them as CDM schemas. And the third thing is really have some kind of really a runtime so that you can access them, you can author CDM schemas, you can read CDM schemas. So that's what we mean by common data model. And we are going to organize them as some core schemas by vertical, saying that these are all the CRM schemas. Inside CRM, you have sales, support, and then marketing, and then F&O schemas. So this is how we plan to organize it. And these all will be available as part of the GitHub so that anybody can look at, anybody can extend it. You can actually also contribute to those things so that the ecosystem of CDM will become much larger. It's beyond the business applications. Office also is going to adapt these things, and then also there is other applications in Microsoft and outside Microsoft are planning to use that. So this sort of visualizes that what I've just said. We start with Dynamics 365 entities and schemas, and then we'll go create CDM folders. We can also, Power BI through Synapse can look at these things and then visualize those things. But we will extend these things with other forms of data. Office is going to really put some of their data in CDM schemas. Azure IoT, Azure Data Services, Adobe and SAP and other ISV partners are also going to contribute those things. You might have heard something called Open Data Initiative, ODI. So this is pretty much an extension of CDM. We started with CDM, then we worked with other partners to create this ODI. So this briefly talks about the CDM folders. Actually, Melinda will show it, so I will not spend too much time. There is basically no magic. There is data in the data lake. Data in the data lake can sit in many formats. In SQL, you have a lot of MDF files or SQL files. There's specified proprietary format. But in the lake, they're much more open. The simplest one is CSV, comma-separated forms. Like you have a file, which each column is a value and then separated by commas. That is the simplest one. You have Parquet formats, which are more column store kind of compressed formats for performance. You have Avro formats. These are all industry standards. We plan to support all of those things in the lake. However, you need a schema to describe all of those things. That's where the model.json will come. If you have a customer, there will be customer files. It could be in different formats, but the customer schema itself, we'll define it on model.json. And it will conform to the schemas that we defined it in F&O and CDS. So there's a bunch of schemas that this is how we organize it. These will be available for you. You can take a look at that. And then, so once we have the schemas, this is where we will start using the Synapse. So Synapse, basically, the platform has multiple components that are provided in. Let's start with the lake itself. So before I go into the lake, one of the things that we want to support on top of Synapse is multiple workloads. It could be, as I mentioned, BI, AI, integration, and other forms of workloads. So to start from bottoms up, the platform pieces itself, it's basically a data lake that is integrated with CDM. The difference between what I mentioned, just a generic data lake versus CDM data lake, is that everything up this stack will start understanding CDM schemas now. You don't need to do any extra work. Once the data is in CDM, T-SQL will understand the CDM schemas. Internally, it will translate the CDM schemas into internal metadata, and then it will start querying it. So it will be CDM ready, the data lake itself. And then there is an integrated services that comes with Synapse, whether it is compliance, security, metadata store, all of those things will be provided by Synapse. We are planning to leverage that. And there are rich data transformations through Azure Data Factory that is available as part of Synapse. We are going to leverage that. And there's a big heavy duty, like, this is where all the processing mechanisms that we plan to use is Spark. And Spark itself, again, is internally we can use Spark SQL, and we'll combine it with T-SQL also. So we have multiple mechanisms. So we'll make it again transparent to you. You write your transform, whether we can actually generate Spark SQL or whether we can generate T-SQL, we'll make it transparent. And you can author your compute logic itself in multiple programming languages. In most cases, for the entity store, you don't need to do anything. We have already done all of this work. All you need to do is just run some reports on top of that. So these are the pieces that we plan to use it. In fact, what Melinda will show, actually a demo, will demo these pieces. The on-demand SQL running on top of the lake, where the F&O data is brought in with CDM schemas. So basically, we are going to leverage a bunch of Synapse features. The things that we actually plan to leverage are the bottom two ones. Is as the data come in, we will create a lot of the F&O data as create views. Views are sometimes there will be some tables, external tables, where the data is coming from external data sources. These are the things that we plan to use. Finally, before I hand it off to Melinda, one of the key things that we get with on-demand, is it is built for the data lake, as opposed to really, taking some SQL query and SQL Server. We actually ground up built a SQL query processor for SQL, to run at scale, literally at petabyte scale. If you have seen any of the talks, we literally ran TPC-H benchmark on petabyte scale, and it is amazing that they perform well and then they scale well. And this is where the elasticity and resiliency comes into play, and performance, it's as comparable to as your operational databases, and high concurrency for running multi-tenant applications, and also like better tooling so that I can manage my data in the lake through Synapse platform. So this is where we want to sort of materialize it using the Synapse platform. Now let me hand off to Melinda.
So thank you, Anil. So what I'll do is I will actually show what Anil described. So what I have here is an F&O environment. Now, in this F&O environment, I have configured a data lake. So this feature, what I'm showing you, is in public preview. You can search for entity store in data lake, and you can do it yourself. So what it is I've provisioned a data lake, and I've gone into system parameters. Let me actually increase the screen a little bit. I've gone into system parameters, and I've enabled data lake integration. I have also enabled trickle update. Now, this is available for entity store. Early next year, you're going to have tables and entities going the same way. What this means is whenever entity store gets updated, or whenever the data gets updated in F&O, that data gets updated in the data lake. So let's go into my Azure Storage Explorer. So here's the data lake that gets updated. So I have created a data lake. It's a storage account, and here's some activity going on. I've had this running for a couple of weeks now. And what we will do is actually we'll look at the data, and we'll see the CDM folder structure that Anil talked about. So if you go in here, you will see what's called the root folder. Now, the root folder is what distinguishes F&O from other systems. So F&O owns the root folder inside F&O. Now, as you can see, I'm using the same storage account to feed data from multiple F&O instances. So you could have one storage account where your entire, like maybe your sandboxes, your entire data goes in there, or you can have multiple storage accounts where maybe sandbox data could go into one storage account, production data, it's up to you. But now what you will see is the aggregate measurements folder structure. as you can see, aggregate measurements is what we support. And these are 2 aggregate measurements, 2 areas. Remember those collections area that we talked about? That's the data that I'm now sending to the lake. So if you're going to collections, you'll see a folder structure like this, as Anil mentioned, and here's the model.json file. So the model.json file is the one that describes the metadata shape of the data that is being written. So here's the model.json file. In fact, it has the names of the entities, it has the names of the field, it describes rich data types. Further down, you will also see that it also describes relationships. Keep that in the back of your mind. We'll go take a look at Power BI and see how Power BI now automatically lights up relationships and entities using this metadata, okay? But right now, we're just looking at data. So let me get out of this and actually show you some files. So if you go into any of these folders, you will see these are the text files. In fact, it could be partitioned as data grows into more, but essentially this is where the raw data is. Now the beauty of it is you don't really need to go into the data lake and do what I did just now, right? Now what I'm going to show you next is how SQL sees this exact same data, right? Okay, so let's go into SQL Management Studio. Now, under the covers, I have Azure Synapse on demand, Azure Synapse SQL in demand. I have basically a Azure that service running in the background. But really, what it means to you is you get a T-SQL endpoint. So what I have here is SQL Management Studio. If you play with SQL Management Studio, you know that's the tool you use to query SQL Server. And essentially what I have done is I've connected to this SQL on demand, which actually looks at my storage account. So what I have here is this AXDW database schema and a bunch of views. Now, incidentally, if you're familiar with Entity Store, you will recognize these views. Because if you, now here I have another machine with Entity Store, and you will notice that the entity schema, store schema looks exactly the same, right? It's taking a minute, so let's just trust my word there. Now, but what's interesting is let's see how this view is made up of. So let me actually do this. Let me say script view as alter. So we'll see how this view is actually made. And here's the magic. So when it comes, you will notice that this view is actually constructed over the data lake. So here we go, alter view as select star from open row set, here we go. So what's happening here is it's looking into this folder structure with, let me just make it a little bit more readable, here we go. So it's actually, this view is actually constructed over T-SQL, over that ADLS storage account that you saw. In fact, Azure Synapse understands the model.json and it created these bunch of views using the metadata in model.json. Now, this works just like T-SQL would. So for an example, I would do right click and I would do, well, I would do right click and do select top 1,000 rows for an example. This is a typical SQL query. It'll run and you can pretty much, you know, write. It takes a little while to warm up the first time, but I'll show you. It takes a little while to warm up. I mean, there's a few months out there. We'll fix these. But after that, you will notice that it's basically running T-SQL under the cover. Now, well, I'm hoping it'll come through. Give it a minute. But while this is coming up, I'll actually show something even more interesting. Now, given that the storage account, okay, finally it came in. See, the next time, actually, it runs much faster. There you go. It takes a little warm up. But the idea is now, because of CDM folders and Azure Synapse, it just looks like a SQL Server. So now let's do a slightly more advanced demo. Let's go in to Power BI. Now what I have done is I have actually created a data set in Power BI looking at that credit and collections report. Remember the one that we saw? Now what I have done is I have created this data set using this exact same server. So now I have gone into Power BI, I have created a data set looking into that SQL endpoint which looks at the storage. And what I did is I actually created a report, that exact same report, which is direct query, that runs on that exact same data, right? And that report works without any changes being done. So really, what I want to show you is that although this data lake, I mean, all these things are unknown quantities, we talked about a lot of technology, but end of the day, if you're writing Power BI reports, I mean, it'll just work like a SQL server. In fact, what I want to show you next is actually this exact same analytical workspace working over ADLS. So here's this analytical workspace that you saw, and you know, it's interactive, over the limit, customers past due. So it's works exactly the same way, no changes required, right? So keep that in mind. Let's talk about the transition. So you understand the technology, you understand how it works, but in the end, it just behaves just like the infrastructure that you're so used to. So a little bit more about the data lake integration. You can take a look at this. This is in public preview. You can try this at home. But here's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about entity store and analytical workspaces. We want to talk about the transition of BYOD from today into the future. Of course, there's a lot more. You saw the potential of data lakes in terms of, you know, using this as an opportunity to modernize your data warehouses. But let's take a look. So here are some logical steps that you can think about. Think about it as, you know, if you're a project manager, if you're planning your roadmap within your organization, here's perhaps what you should look at. Today, we have certain capabilities in public preview. So it might be a good time to start learning about the transition. Maybe kick off a POC to understand what you can do with the data lake. Number two is, think of it as early next year. Entity store is already in the data lake right now, at this in preview. But into that preview, we will add tables and entities. What that means is that now you have all your data in a data lake, and with help from Azure Synapse SQL Query on Demand, you actually have the ability to point your BYOD or the downstream things that you did with BYOD into Azure Synapse, into this T-SQL endpoint, right? So the idea is maybe the next thing that you can think about is if you're using BYOD, instead of exporting data on your own to a SQL warehouse, maybe you can point to a data lake, right? So hopefully your existing transformations, your existing downstream pipelines will still continue to work because it looks like SQL. Now next transition is analytical workspaces. If you're using analytical workspaces, I showed you how they'll just work on the lake. So what will happen is we will reach out to you and say, you know what, you're getting this next update in which you're going to get upgraded to a data lake. But that's essentially what that transition is. It's sort of hands-free to you. We will do that almost like a monthly update. But the cool thing is now you will get the opportunity to actually mash up external data quite easily. I mentioned that you need a developer to actually add additional data into analytical workspaces. Now when it gets to this stage, you won't need a developer. A power user will actually have the ability to mash up additional data using Power BI capabilities and add that into analytical workspaces. Step 4 could be that now that you're comfortable with the data lake, now you're sort of reimagining maybe the great things that you can do. Maybe you can bring non-business data to the data lake. Maybe you can start looking at your own use cases where you can perhaps modernize your data warehouses. That might be a 4th step. So This is not a roadmap, this is not a must-do, this is not a must-do sequence, but a logical way to think about how you could transition from the present to the future, right? So let's double-click. So I talked about a little bit. If you're using BYOD today, how would you transform into ADLS and SQL on demand? So today, on the left-hand side, today BYOD is a lot of management. You had to schedule it, you had to keep an eye on the exports, you had to make sure it exported. Those pains are going away because it's our job to export that data and keep it up to date. So hopefully, and also, I know some of you have fairly large SQL Azure boxes in your subscription. Hopefully you'll get a relief because Data Lake is a whole lot cheaper, orders of magnitude cheaper, right? So you'll get a relief there as well. Of course, you will have to get SQL Azure Synapse on if you want T-SQL, you will get SQL Synapse on your own. But if your pipelines can consume Data Lake, then you probably wouldn't need that either. So, but by and large, your transition should be fairly seamless, and your management experience, your management hardships that you have today should go away. Next step is, we talked about analytical workspaces, how they transition. Here's how we, don't take these timelines as set in ground, but imagine this is how it'll look like. So, number 2 is kind of where we are today. It's in public preview, so this is a good time for you to sort of kickstart, maybe a POC, see how it works. Step 3 is when it gets interesting. When we GA, think of that as spring next year, Seattle spring, of course. And when we GA, the transition from Entity Store Analytical Workspaces to ADLS, we're thinking of that more like a monthly update. So imagine that you will get a notice saying, hey, at the next monthly update, we're going to, transition you to Data Lake, but there's no need for you to rewrite reports. What that means is if you're planning entity store uptake, or if you're building BYOD, if you're building analytical workspaces, continue to do so, because the transition, you should not have to rewrite them. Now, when analytical workspaces are based on ADLS, you're going to get a whole bunch of other benefits. Of course, you're on the left-hand side. There are some restrictions. It's direct query only, and there's things like that. But you'll have the ability to extend them using the full power of PowerBI.com. Because the data inside Entity Store is now freely available to you in your own data lake. So although the transition to Data Lake is fairly easy, now you can do the full capabilities of PowerBI.com, and you can add everything that you couldn't do today. So for an example, analytical workspaces are direct query. That restriction goes away when you have PowerBI.com. You can actually use the exact same data, pick up the exact same report, now use the Power BI cache mode. Use all the other capabilities that Power BI gives. Of course, there are pros and cons. When you have the cache mode, you have to schedule Power BI data. There's stuff like that, but you can weigh the pros and cons, and you can do things with PowerBI.com. So finally, I wanted to give you a couple of resources as pointers. Obviously, there's a bunch of homework for you. I think we have about 2-3 minutes for questions. So feel free to walk up to the mic, because I understand it's being streamed, and mind your language. Yes.
I have 2 short questions.
Yes.
First one is, when you say that data lake will be mandatory for all customers, does it mean that it will influence the cost, because the entity store is free of charge at the moment? That's the first question. And the other one, we have to bring our own database at the moment. When the export is done, you can add actually the business logic into data entities. So I guess this possibility is removed because it's just a simple SQL export.
Yeah, I'll take the first question. That's a good question. So your question is, now entity store is bundled into F&O. Now when we transition to Data Lake, of course, you will need to bring a Data Lake. Yeah, I think we didn't quite talk about the bundling and pricing. But yes, what we are working on today is what's called Bring Your Own Lake, BYOL. There's also some thought about, just like Entity Store, there's a lake built in, and analytics just work. So that's bundled into F&O. But a lot of our enterprise customers want to put the data in their own lake because they have data warehouses and stuff. So think of it this way. I mean, we are working on bring your own lake first. But we also have this thinking that we want to have a lake built in so that things just work like it did with Entity Store. We haven't disclosed pricing or anything like that yet, but I mean, we certainly want to give you the data lakes. If you'll notice when you look at the cost calculators, it's a fraction of the cost that you have for a BYOD. I think your second question is you have wired up some business logic into BYOD, I guess, so that when the data gets exported, those logic gets triggered. You can do, in fact, the exact same thing. You know, things will become a lot clearer when we actually sort of go to early next year. Essentially, what we want to do is with CDC, change data capture, there's this notion of a sequence number of changes. So what we want to do is, you know, now imagine data in the lake as always up to date. Always up to date, you should think of it as almost like a read-only secondary. But there is a sequence number which tells you the changes so that if you want to react to a change across multiple tables, you can actually string them together using that sequence number. We're also looking at different ways of triggering changes. Yes.
I just might react. I was just thinking about the simple entities like, for example, you want to include the business logic like get me a price for the item, because that's a very complicated function in
oh, I see. I realize. So you have methods inside entities. You want to execute them. Yeah. We'll take care of those. Yes. Next question.
So if Microsoft is controlling the population of the lake, what about extensions where we added fields to projects, to customers, et cetera?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when we say exporting tables, entities, aggregate measurements, it includes ready-made ones as well as the extensions that you've made. So it's just like a, yeah, I mean, we consider that to be part of the table, so don't worry about it.
So fields, columns, they all will come over. The same thing. Yep.
Yes, next question, please.
Hi. So with Azure Synapse being a relatively expensive component to the system, is there any thoughts on bundled pricing for D365, given that this is going to be mandatory for the majority of our customers?
So I think that's a great question. It's a bit too early, but what we are thinking about is, you know, just like today, so if you look at analytical workspaces, it bundles Power BI embedded for use within F&O. We'll do something like that so that analytical workspaces just work, but of course you would have to, for other scenarios, you would have to buy Synapse on your own.
Yeah, so if I'm an entry level, small, medium enterprise, I can get a BYOD for around $500 US per month.
Right.
But the Azure Synapse is pushing up, it's about double that, just for the very smallest subscription I can get.
Yeah, we need to work with them.
I think the general thinking, at least we haven't priced it, but anything that is out of the box that you see, you know, so we want to really hide that. But if you really want to do your own T-SQL ad hoc query, then it becomes, you need to get a license. But
yeah.
If you're running a workspaces entity, you know, workspaces, analytical workspaces, then it's
right.
hidden to you.
But as a replacement for BYOD, the data lake actually costs us twice as much for at the very base model, cheapest implementation we can do.
We need to take a look at it, obviously. Yeah. The pricing just came out. But I mean, we want to, as you can imagine, we want to promote the data lake. The idea is not to make it harder so that you'll stay with BYOD.
No, it looks really great. It looks awesome, but the Azure Synapse is double the price off the bat.
Point taken.
So we've been saying for the last 6 months that this will be more efficient, faster, more robust, and cheaper, but it's not going to be any cheaper for a number of customers implementing D365.
Your point taken. I think it's something that we need to
Can we
work on.
meet after this? I want to
Yeah.
really understand it more, so, yeah.
I think we have one more question. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's just a follow-up to that, because I think there is some confusion going on, being Synapse as the successor for SQL Data Warehouse, which is expensive, and then you're talking about SQL on demand, which should be very cheap. So I think we don't need SQL Data Warehouse for every small customer. SQL on demand will do the job, as you just showed up, and that should be extremely flexible in terms of pricing.
Yeah, we haven't quite deep dived on pricing, but your point is taken. Maybe we should have a discussion and understand your price points and data and things like that, so we can start talking to them, give them feedback. Yep. So thank you very much.
I think actually that feedback will be very useful, because we are still very early stages of how we want to package it, because we are working with Synapse guys also. So how do we embed Synapse? When do we expose Synapse versus Synapse is hidden for you? So those are the kinds of things that we want to figure it out. So, yeah.
So thank you very much. We're going to be at the booth till about 12:30, so you're welcome to come ask questions there as well. Thank you very much.